What's up, guys? Big Papa Drock back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. I hope that you are having a fantastic day wherever you may be. Guys, we got to talk about something. We got to talk about something that has been an issue in Raid for a very long time. Very long time. And it hasn't ever really been addressed. And that is the issue of AI. The issue of the programming instructions that are given to characters in Raid Shadow Legends. And this is a problem that doesn't just affect people in Arena, by the way. It affects people in PVE, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So when I talk about AI, when I talk about instructions, I'm talking about when you go in to face a team and you don't have a team setup, right? Let's say I don't have a team set up here, and we're gonna do a little example of this. I've got Warlord on my team here, for example. You would think that Warlord would lead, for example, with his A3, which locks people out. But let's find out if that is the case, because most of the time he does not. So I'm just gonna quickly put this on auto, and we're gonna see if Warlord does what he does. Okay, so Shuzen doesn't lead with her A3, but oh, there we go. There's a great example. Warlord, instead of locking everybody out, which is a simple thing that the AI should prioritize every single time, instead he does the worst version of his kit, which is the A2. This is a problem. This is such an annoying thing. And it's across so many champions. And I could give you a million different examples, but Armanz is another great example. If you don't have Armanz prioritized to do his A2, if one person on the team has Stone Skin, he won't do his A2 at all. He'll just use an A1, or maybe he'll use an A3. It just depends. Like, there's no seeming intelligence behind the kind of decisions that are made with the AI in Raid. And it's something that hasn't been addressed for a very long time. They haven't put seemingly any kind of effort into improving this stuff. I feel like once they came out with the ability for you to set teams, right, that they just said, we don't need to prioritize stuff on AI. They can just set teams. But the problem is that that doesn't always work. You don't have immense amount of controls on these team setups, right? You can't say, hey, use the A2, but then, make sure it's my second choice and not, and I also want to use this instead of this. Like, you don't have the same level of control that you would think in going into this. You have more than you did. They've definitely made an improvement over this from when they first rolled it out. But if you, like for example, if I try to make this the second choice, I can't even do that because this is the opener. I can't make this my second choice here. For some reason, it's only a first choice thing because I've chosen this as my opener. Like, what? And I can't make this my second choice? Because it's my opener. I can only make it a second choice if it's well, what the heck? I can't make it what? I can't use the first choice skill is not, what the hell? Why can't I make it like what? Wait, why can't I make it my second? What is going on here? I can't make this my second choice skill either. All right, wait, hold on. Maybe if I just make this my first and it becomes my second choice. Okay, because of the fact that that I've got only 2 skills. I believe that's the reason why. But the point still stands that if I want this to be my opener and I want it to be, for example, my second choice skill, I can't do that. I can't make it my second choice skill if it's my opener. There's not enough control here. And there are many champions that suffer from this problem. Okay, yeah, it's fine. I don't need to save any changes there. So it's not just in Arena, right, with Warlord, and that crops up as a problem when you go to Tag Team Arena, of course. It props up as a problem in Classic or Live if you're trying to auto something, though I don't think you'd be autoing in Live unless you just feel like you've already won the battle. It's a major issue, for example, in Faction Wars. And I can't run the stage right now, but there are Faction War stages that have, for example, champions that put up unkillable or that put up block damage. And for some reason, every champion on your team doesn't care that they did these things. They'll start using every one of their skills, even if it won't affect or be effective versus block damage. It's crazy. You can't auto the stage. How many times have you guys run into an issue where, for example, on those stages that there's a Paragon where he gets his stuff up for a little bit and your teams just throw out every one of their abilities, and maybe you try to go to the next round and they have none of their abilities, they're all on cooldown, and then you get clapped, right? Like, it's less of a problem for higher end accounts, but it's still an issue that I run into. The block damage in Cursed City, the unkillable in Cursed City happens all the time, and your champions will waste all of their abilities because for some reason their AI doesn't acknowledge that these champions can't be hurt, can't be killed. Now, if you had a buff stripper, sure, it would make sense for them to use their buff stripper, but they don't do that. Another great example, Rathalos, right? A champion that I use all the time on my free-to-play, has some of the dumbest AI I have ever seen in my life. This dude, no matter what, will always AoE if there's one person left. And my thinking is it probably thinks, oh, I want to make sure Rathalos gets the increased speed and the increased crit damage. But that's one of the dumbest things ever. Why do I want Rathalos to waste an AoE when he's about to finish a round on one opponent? Where is the logic in that? And this is consistent across Raid in so many different aspects of this game. The AI has gotten less and less and less intelligent, and it just seems like they launch champs that don't think about what they're supposed to do at all. For example, let's talk about Mythicals. One of the biggest areas where the AI is just straight up atrocious. These champions have no clue when to transform whatsoever. I am 1,000,000% convinced that they didn't spend an iota of time addressing realistic situations, for example, for Geralt to transform, right? Geralt's first form, not super useful. You want her to be in her second form. But if you put her in a Hydra battle, and if you transform her to her second form, but you don't give her instructions, she will transform back to her non-damage dealing first form. Why does the game not take into account the type of gear that you have on a champion? If I'm building Geralt for damage, and again, that's how pretty much everybody builds Geralt, why is it not looking at this and saying, oh, she has a lot of attack and a lot of crit damage? I think because she has a lot of attack, she probably wants to be in her second form instead of constantly switching to her HP-based first form that doesn't do damage. And this is a problem with every mythical. All of them, with the exception of Siegfried, since he can't actually switch forms, but all of them make baffling decisions as to when to switch forms if you have the game on auto in any capacity. This is a tricky problem to fix, right? I'm going to acknowledge that. It isn't the easiest thing to address on a per champion basis, but it's also not necessarily the hardest thing for most of the champions that aren't mythicals. Mythicals by far the hardest. Warlord, for example, should always prioritize his A3. Always. That should be the base. If you want to lead with the A2, you should be able to select that. But he should always prioritize his A3 because that is his best move and is 99% of the reason why you'd put Warlord on a team, even in PVE, is to lock out people to make sure they can't use their skills. Why then is this not the case? Why does he consistently open with his A2? It's because he's programmed poorly. Straight up. Hate to say it, but that's reality. Armanz, for example, on auto, should most of the time be using his A2 to try to take turn. Why can't I find Armanz? To take turn meter away and stun people. And even if there's only one person in Stone Skin, he should still use this A2 the vast majority of the time. Instead, he will use his A1 for some reason. He won't even use his A3 to strip necessarily. If there's one person in Stone Skin, he'll just say, screw it. I'm going to use my A1. That's how I feel. I feel good about my A1. I'm not going to use any skills because the game is saying, oh, they're in Stone Skin. You can't steal turn meter. Again, poor programming, poor. And it's something that needs to be fixed. This is a quality of life improvement that is a problem across all champions. And it's also something that you see in so many different areas of the game. It's not just AI, right? It's the same stuff that we have been begging for years. And it's the same problems that they haven't addressed. Fix the marketplace, improve, maybe empowerment, improve the token trader, improve these things. Like, guys, Plarium, big piece of advice. I know you got to release more champions because that's how you make money. I respect it. I understand it. I get it. That's how a raid works. But for the love of God, start investing time into real quality of life changes and not the Hydra type stuff that was completely overkill in the wrong possible way, where you nerf basically every champion as opposed to just addressing the one champion that's the problem, aka Trunda, which is the vast majority of why that mode was broken. Super simple fix you could have done there. You could have done things way less complicated. And it starts with her. Instead, we do a year's worth of waiting to get a change that people don't even like. We got to start doing better on areas of this game that are what I would call simple fixes, or at least, if they aren't simple, quality of life changes that make the game more fun to play, that make people more entertained. And this example, fixing AI, is a great example of it. I would love to be able to run a faction war stage and not have my champions dump all of their abilities out for no reason other than the fact that they're poorly programmed to not understand when someone has a block damage or an unkillable buff up. That'd be great, because I don't want to have to set a team for each individual faction war stage. I don't have enough space to do that. While we're on it, actually, the way team setups should have worked, in my opinion, is they should have been team setups on each area of content. Think of it like this. And weirdly enough, they are somewhat like that on certain areas like Doom Tower, but great example is Faction Wars. I don't want to be able to look at my dungeon teams for Faction Wars. I'd love to have a team setup area specific just to my faction. That'd be great. Then I can guarantee that I run it as fast as possible. That'd be good. Like, yes, awesome, cool. I can set it for orcs, and I know that I can put it over here and it's going to work specifically for orcs. And it's the same kind of stuff with other areas of the game where I want like something specific only to Doom Tower. I think Doom Tower is Doom Tower, right? No, Doom Tower still has some save team presets from other areas of content, but not the same ones. Weirdly enough, it has like partial dungeon things, I guess. I don't know how this stuff works. Anyway, bottom line, the AI in this game is very bad. It used to be significantly better, or they would at least fix it, like Cold Heart, because they weren't relying on you to somehow, program Cold Heart, because you didn't have that ability. You didn't have the ability to program Cold Heart not to use her A3 into Fire Knight's shield, for example. But there are so many parts of the game where that just isn't the case anymore, where champions make the wrong move every single time, and it makes things take more time, and it makes you be in the game longer, and it makes you more frustrated. So please take a look at this, guys. Let's try to fix some of this stuff. If you need a list of champions, I'm sure lots of you can give examples down below. And in fact, do that. I'd love to hear, what are some of your examples of AI being absolutely brain dead in this game, doing the worst possible thing consistently? I've given you a couple of mine with Warlord, with Armanz, with, Mythicals, but let me know what you think. What are the ones that stand out to you? Because I know that there are others out there that I'm forgetting. There's a ton. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully Plarium sees this and makes a change, but we all know that's probably not going to happen. So, oh well, at least I tried. All right, see y'all later. Big Papa Drock out.